Tech Tuesday Talk. Today we're going to be discussing bandwidth. You know, the signal from your router to your device that allows you to be connected to the internet. I'm going to explain to you in depth on what that means and help you better understand it. First and foremost, the IT department basically describes bandwidth as lanes on a highway. The bigger the package, the more lanes you have. And like you and I, on the freeway, more lanes are better. It allows you to go faster. Same analogy with your bandwidth. Also, different capabilities are based on the Wi-Fi channel you have. Wi-Fi channels being 2.4 versus 5. We've talked about this before. You can check out my other Tech Tuesday videos to get an in-depth explanation of 2.4 versus 5. Also, every device requires different capabilities, or more importantly, different bandwidth needs. Obviously, a smart TV is going to require more than your phone, or vice versa. A laptop might require more than your phone. Depending on what device it is and how newer it is, it requires different bandwidths. Also, if you have a streaming TV, just to give you an idea of how much bandwidth things require, your typical video streaming software is about 1080p. It's going to need about 10 to 15 megs of bandwidth. That includes, like Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, Zoom, things of that nature. That's kind of to give you your standard idea of how much bandwidth is required for one device. And last and more importantly, just because you're not using that device, it's still using bandwidth. Now, it might not require all the bandwidth that is required when it's on, but if you just have it set aside, if it's not completely turned off, it's still using your bandwidth. Bandwidth never has a day off, especially not around Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's going to conclude this Tech Tuesday on bandwidth. Just giving you the ins and outs. It's like lanes on a highway. Different devices require different amount of bandwidth, and depending on your Wi-Fi channel, that also determines what type of bandwidth you might be needing or use.